Kimberly, you a switch halfway through. People always do.
Black love series with white with interracial couples. That's always interesting to me. Can't wait to say that.
That was a good show, though.
And we are live on a Super Soul Saving Sunday
Amen.
with Brother Tim Jones. I'm Sir Goodwin Live. The actual and factual Kim Smith is in the building today. How are you?
Blessed, black, and highly favored. How about yourself?
One thing about being blessed, black, and highly favored, you're going to be that whether you're having a bad day,
That's
a good
true.
day, when you're feeling discouraged or when you're feeling encouraged,
This
like
is
we're
true.
going to be today.
Amen. Come on through with a word.
Yes. Today's guest is someone who is a good close friend in my head.
Oh,
But
okay.
he always answers my calls and texts.
Amen. That's all that
I
matters.
must say that he is no stranger
Mm-hmm.
to the Unapollagetic podcast, but we'll get into some of his past appearances a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
But today's guest is a motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's a writer. He's a public speaker, a community advocate, big picture thinker, and one of my favorites, a leader for our community. Let's give a round of applause to Brother Tim Jones. Thank you for being here today.
Hey, good evening. Happy Sunday. Happy Black History Month. We got
Come on.
another few days left. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, it is Black History Month, and I'm a repeat offender
I
with
see.
all my clothes. But I love that it's Black History Month and we get to celebrate today. We want to start this series a little earlier, but Sundays in February, Valentine's Day, Super Bowl,
Yeah.
we don't want to tie up the people. So
Yes.
we're so glad that Brother Tim Jones is here to be here with us today.
Yes.
On February 21st, we'll be left. And we will continue next Sunday too with the Whitlock.
Yes.
I've been knowing you, Tim, for a long time by way of NIU in DeKalb.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's where it all started.
That's right. Huskies.
Huskies.
Shout out to the Huskies watching.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And Tim is, all those things that I said earlier, but he's also a pretty good athlete, okay? He played,
Okay.
I met him playing shortstop on the softball
That's
team.
right.
And that's probably the hardest position to play in baseball.
I'm gonna
So
take your word for it.
you've been a leader for a long time.
Baseball was my best sport growing up, and I was discovered by Goodwin. He saw me make a throw, and he pulled me to the side and started like, "Hey man, you want to play for this 15 and up AAU team?" And so that's how we really met.
You really do step in to grab people when you need them, huh?
I
You reach
will
out your
approach
hand?
you.
Okay.
I will approach you. And
Okay.
it's actually kind of backfired on me in some way. Somebody just said some nasty things about me approaching them. But you know what? I got to be me. If I want something, I'm going to ask something, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
But anyway, after DeKalb, you went on to Northwestern.
All right.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, I went to business school, and I just felt like I was called to some heavier lifting in the city. I had the soft skills, I had the relationships. I can sit down with anybody and build relationship, but I needed the theory. I needed to figure out how to take the relationships, how to take the knowledge, the data, and make processes, make frameworks, so that we could drive our communities to a higher level. I could have did that without going to business school, but business school, particularly Kellogg, 1, 2, 3 every year in the as far as the rankings. I could have went anywhere, but I went there. It peeled back a piece of my brain that I didn't know was there, as far as just creative thinking, creative planning, just strategic thinking. Met some great people. So yeah, but it's just a part of the journey.
Okay.
It's part of the process.
Do you recommend college?
Oh yeah. Oh, you gotta go to school.
Okay.
You have to go to school. I think the goal now is to figure out a way for someone to finance you to go to school.
There you go.
And for kids that can make the grade, scholarships, For people who work in corporate America, have your company pay for it. For people who don't work in corporate America, figure out a way where you can align yourself with an organization that will pay for you to go to school. I think that's the hang up with higher ed is the cost of it.
True.
Not necessarily does Goodwin, does Kimberly had a capacity to be there, but can she afford this and pay rent and bop, 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 bop.
How do you feel about Biden with him paying for community college?
It's huge. I work for a school now that pays for any senior that accumulates a 3.0 or higher from freshman year to sophomore year, full tuition.
Wow.
Right? So that needs to reach every generation, every level of, or every person at every educational level. Finance is the biggest reason why people decide not to go. Not necessarily, again, do they have the mind or capacity to go.
Do you think that's still true? I think that I totally agree with you that people should get an education, but I think that with our generation, education was pushed on us because that's what you were supposed to do.
Sure.
Like our parents, our grandparents didn't get this right, so we should be thankful and we need to go and bring it back.
Right.
But I feel like with this generation, I do agree that they need to go to school, but I don't think that it's pushed in the same type of way. I think education for them is something that they can get to later because they can get to funds now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a specialized skill or talent, absolutely. Graphic design, there's kids that could take a computer apart and put it back together. I wouldn't necessarily push them to school.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily push someone that's just naturally gifted in the arts to school. And so there's some exceptions, but I think overall, across the board, in general, I'm teaching my girls, my son, that education is really important.
That's great. So you have always been just a very positive person.
Right.
One of the things that I love about you, and you came up with leave no potential on the table.
Right.
Explain how that came about and what does that mean?
Man, I think the mantra turned 3 or 4 in December. But anyway, it is this, so I believe that we all are born full of gifts, skills, abilities, imagination, desires, and somewhere along the way, we don't get that out of us, or we suppress those things, right? I'm not really that good to run for Senate. I'm really not that good to, so you suppress it. Leave no potential on the table. It's an exercise in reverse suppression. It's this idea that whatever I believe God told me I can do, whatever I'm naturally gifted at, when people think of Goodwin, they think of articulation, they think of speaking, they think of writing. So any of those gifts, skills, or abilities that I have, I'm going to get them out of me and I'm going to die empty. We're born closed and full. Our goal is to die open and empty. And you open yourself up by going to school. You open yourself up by picking a trade. You open yourself up by becoming the Condo Association president, right? And then that's our responsibility, age 20, age 30, is to dump all of those gifts out so that when we leave here, that's it. I've done everything that I could possibly do.
Well done.
Absolutely. Super Soul Saving Sundays, sponsored by Zelia Rose Boutique and Jars by Jasmine. Zelia Rose Boutique, Zalea Rose Boutique, ZeliaRose.com and JarsByJasmine.com, South Loop location for pickup. Super Soul Saving Sunday. We'll talk some spirituality, religion, inspirational things, but most importantly, positivity. Word of the day is something that I really enjoy that you do on Saturday mornings, bright and early, at 8 o'clock. So I have to catch the rerun when I wake up. And we're hoping to get word of the day on the Unapologetic podcast platform. We'll talk about that later. How did you come up with that? How important is it for you?
So there's a woman by the name of Miss Teresa Deer. She has her own nonprofit HR consulting company, but she was also on WVON 1690 the nation's largest black talk radio station, 50 plus years old, 1690 AM. So she had a show at 8 AM, and she wanted me to open up that show with a word of the day. Her show was for entrepreneurs, people climbing the corporate ladder, those just working in corporate America, and she just wanted me to provide an inspirational word of the day. We had met from my moving and shaking in the city, and she said she wanted to figure out a way to give me an opportunity. Probably one of the top 5 people to give me an opportunity in the city. You know how our city is. It's very compartmentalized. You have to toil to break through and bust through. But Teresa was one of those people who had the platform, had the ability, and allowed me to do it. So I would just pick one word, fit. The word is fit, and just build a 3 to 5 minute talk around fit and how to apply it to your dreams, to your desires and imagination or whatever. And she stepped away from the show last year in the midst of everything, and I didn't pivot. Once she told me it was over, it was over. So Word of the Day took a whole year off, and then I said I'm coming back this year, and I'm just going to do it from my Facebook Live platform. And so it's just an opportunity to help people navigate and narrate their journey. Everybody's navigating, but sometimes along the way we mess up with our narration of what we're doing along the journey. Man, 5 steps forward, 8 steps back, or whatever the saying is. Man, I'll never overcome this, right? The narration of something. Now, those energies are working alongside you, and they working against you. It's counterintuitive. It's counterproductive to you saying, I want to be, while at the same time in the atmosphere, I can't, they won't let me, they hating on me. It's working against it. So this is an opportunity to hopefully fuel people for 7 days, who knows, 2 days, a few days, and help them navigate and narrate their journey.
I really enjoyed the segment. I went back and started watching some of your older ones, and the one that really grabbed me is Lie. And I love how you broke that all down with the, lying to yourself and making yourself heavier. But I love how you ended it with, by God's grace, I will be better tomorrow.
Right.
I feel like with everything in that, that's one of the ones that hit the most, because we do exactly like you said. We doubt ourselves, we lie to ourselves, we put ourselves down or whatever. But to see you expand on that, to turn it into a positive, was really amazing for me.
Yeah, I mean, we're human. Right. And so I'll hit it hard today. I'll cross the T today. I'll dot the I today. But tomorrow I may not get it right. But by God's grace, I get another opportunity to have a better performance, to respond differently to my coworker, to my mom, to my significant other. And that's what I believe that we don't give ourselves enough of, is enough grace. That, last year was traumatic. It was a really trying time. It wasn't cursed. It was just curved. We weren't used to it. And anytime you ride a curve, I don't know if you ever rode on the back of a motorcycle?
I have.
I didn't want to ask a man.
No, I haven't.
Good. But when you hit a curve, you hold on. And I feel like some people, they just they let their hands go. They wanted to jump off the motorcycle, but you hold on and just give yourself grace that it's gonna straighten out. It's gonna get better. High highs, low lows, but just hold on.
And it's funny that you said that, because the pandemic is what it is. It is what it was, and all it basically told you was to lie down, almost. Just lie down, relax, and be home. Get, find peace within, find peace with family, close friends, people you trust, and that is something that I got from the word lie. When you first posted it, when you said the word was going to be lie, I didn't go where you went, but then also I saw it as a place of when you say lie, like lay, a place of contentment and comfort, being in comfort zones. Tell us about how to get out of comfort zones and how not to be content and stay positive and get that hustle.
Yeah, so the only way to disrupt comfort zones is to give yourself a challenge, right? And we don't challenge ourselves enough. I mean, I work out, but I do the same stinking workouts every time. The moment I get a trainer, he's gonna have me running up something with a tube on my back, with a person on my other hand, because that's a challenge, and that's how our muscles grow. Not too much, or the muscle will tear. Not too little, or it ain't gonna grow at all. You need just the right challenge. And sometimes we don't challenge ourselves, and that's the only way out of comfort zones. If you can't challenge yourself, it's gonna be tough to get out of that comfort zone. And I always talk about how to, challenge yourself or how to get out of the comfort zone. You jump. You can take a high jump, you can take a long jump, or you can take a triple jump. A high jump is a place that you never thought. I never thought I would run for a union president, right? A long jump is a location. I want to live in LA. I want to try out something else. I want to go do stand-ups at night in New York and bartend during the day. And then the triple jump is just something that just really takes you far. It's just something that you've allowed to lie dormant, that you're going to wake up and set up a studio in your crib and broadcast to the world. And so those are the things that we need to do to get out of those comfort zones. No, there's no osmosis. There's nothing. There's not your favorite book you can put under your pillow, Purpose-Driven Life, and everything from the book is going to come up through the pillow. And you got to jump. It's something physical that you have to do.
Brother Tim Jones is with us today, and I don't know if he realizes that I say this to him a lot. I always say I want to be like you when I grow up. And, I think that you all are really getting a taste of that tonight, because Brother Jones is just very positive and inspiring. And the pandemic has been great for me, I must say, because just opening up and realizing who's who and where I need to be, where I don't need to be, and where I want to go. And you have definitely helped in that. Why don't you tell us about some of your products that are for purchase and your website?
Sure. I will say this, as I talk about leaving no potential on the table and what that meant for me, it was even launching a website. So 4 or 5 years ago, I launched a website to really just start promoting my brand. I am Tim Jones. And it was something that I didn't do for a long time because I was worried about what people would think, who he think he is, why does he think people will listen to him. I remember in 2006, I used to do motivational talks and put them over a hip hop instrumental. And I would hand them out at the Harold Washington Cultural Center when they had whatever they was having there. I remember going around to a really poppin', famous, they got a lot of drip. They just one of those places where you go if you want to get your outfit together. They still open right now. They got multiple locations. I went in there and I said, hey man, I want to play my motivational talk over the loudspeaker while people shop. And I was really cool. I was very nice to him. He's like, hey man, what makes you think people want to listen to this? And so this was 2006 was many years ago. I wasn't as nice and positive, and I said, what makes you think they want to listen to this? It was something planned with a beat behind it, and I walked out of there. But this is something that I've dedicated my life to, just motivation, inspiration, civic engagement. We'll get into that. But I finally launched a website. I finally put some content up on the website. I write leadership blogs on LinkedIn. The first Monday of every month, there's a leadership blog that I write because I love organizational leadership and being a leader and writing about it and talking about it. But motivation and inspiration is my sweet spot. So my social media is dedicated to it. Every day I get up and I do 160 characters, whatever Twitter allows me, and I put it out.
Oh, okay.
So I put it out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And it comes to me the day of. I don't write them out a week in advance. I believe it's something that God gives me to share with people. Now I may get a thought today to share about tomorrow, and it'll just cultivate in my mind. But every day when I wake up, those are fresh off the press. I'm inspired by stuff, but all of it 100% is my work. I had people a couple times this year ask me, man, where do you get this stuff from?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all your work?
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely it is. 100% it is. I take great pride in that. So I provide these words of the day every stinking day, 365 days out the year. As a result, this year, I started putting like some of my favorite quotes on poster because, you know, I believe if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist, right? Whatever your goal is, whatever type of man you want, write it down. 6'4", dimples, got those muscles like right here on his neck. Write it down. The sister, 24, 34, whatever the thing is. Anyway,
36.
that's it. So one of my favorite quotes is it's a life season, it's not a life sentence.
Ooh.
It's this idea that we're not always going to be where we are.
Right.
High highs and low lows. And I'll say this. There's a machine that measures the activity of your heart. It's called the electrocardiogram. There's another machine that measures the activity of your brain. It's called like getting an EKG. The only reason the doctor knows if your heart is healthy or your brain is healthy is they hook you up and that thing goes boom, boom, boom. For whatever reason in our life, we think that when we do like this, it's something wrong. You know, God has forsaken me. I hate everybody, but it's a healthy life, right? Promotion, loss of a loved one. You find a boo, lose a boo. It's a healthy life though. So it's a life season. It's not a life sentence. Don't quit. Don't throw in the towel. So I'm gifting my friends.
Oh, thank you.
You need a 12 by 18 frame to get that in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's one of them. The second one is setbacks are really slingshots. You know, I don't think there's anything that can take us out. There's nothing that can wipe us out. And we'll talk about faith in a moment. Particularly if you connected to a higher power and you know where you're going after this. So even if you get taken out of this life, there's another life for you. So setbacks are really slingshots, and there's nothing that can wipe us out. We can recover from anything. There's no such thing as nothing that you can't recover from. If you say that, you use that, stop saying it. You can recover from anything. You can change the way you feel about anything. So those are just some of the products that I have. They're 2 for $30, 1 for $20. But I don't monetize a lot of my stuff. The only thing that I monetize is my time. So I get invited to do graduations, high school, 8th grade. I spoke at ConAgra, a Fortune 200 company, a couple Black History Months ago, because I do a lot in diversity and inclusion. So that's the only thing I really monetize. I monetize this to start off, but I'm going to be, they're giveaways.
Well, I want to thank you, Brother Tim Jones, for this. We love gifts.
We do.
And we're going to frame this and have them in the studio.
Yes.
Nice.
Because it's something that we could be inspired from and learn from and grow from and help us to continue to grow to get bigger and stronger. Give it up for Tim Jones.
I
gotta find a round of applause on the board so we can play. So you said a few things that I had to try to jot down so I don't forget. First of all, where can we find you on social media? That is your Twitter, your IG, Facebook, and your LinkedIn. I'm have to get on LinkedIn now.
Yeah, LinkedIn is, I think, where it's going to really happen for me at. I write, again, a leadership blog every month. Last year, I took the year off. The year before that, I wrote 2 blogs a month. And it just covers all things from organizational leadership, speaking directly to leaders. If you're in a leadership position, if you're the president of the condo association, if you're a parent, I think it's all applicable. But my LinkedIn is Timothy Jones. My motivation and inspiration is primarily found on I Am Tim Jones LLC. That's Twitter and that's Instagram. My Facebook is Tim Jones. My Twitter is where I kind of dive into like a lot of my civic engagements, a lot of my strong opinions about politics, race, and culture, as I talked before the show about kind of being what do you call it? Censored and not going there. I mean, sometimes I step outside of that on Twitter, or I'll step outside of it on Facebook. I've been getting ready to write about Mike Madigan stepping down.
Look forward to that.
And so I don't necessarily have a censor button. I do whatever the muse tells me to do, whatever the spirit tells me to do. But for the most part, motivation, inspiration, I am Tim Jones, LLC.
You also pointed out a change in you from whatever year, 06, to now. And I was going through I am Tim Jones, LLC. And it went from pictures to quotes. So what was the change that, that prompted you from, I don't know if it happened in your real life, but definitely on social media, from posting to social to just focusing on being positive?
That's a good catch, because I never formally came out and said that. But it was taking a lot of energy out of me. In 2008, when we got President Trump elected, I was like everybody else. I was emotionally I was angry. I was tired. I wasn't scared, but I was scared for the country. And writing about it, chasing what happened 7 minutes ago, 4 hours ago, was draining me. And I said, you know what? I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to watch a video when an unarmed black man gets shot, and I don't want to have to watch that so I can write a commentary about it. I don't want to have to read and study full so I can give a full, different perspective because I never try to take, the angle that everyone else takes. And I was just like, I'm gonna opt out.
Okay.
And I said, I'm gonna opt in to what I know I'm really good at and the void that's out there. Oftentimes when people think of motivation and inspiration, they're thinking of Sunday morning. They're not thinking of Wednesday before their performance review.
Right.
They're not thinking just those days outside of Sunday morning where we reserved inspiration, motivation. And so I just wanted to figure out a way to empty myself, but also help people along their way. And that's when I said, every day I'm going to share. And that's when I started sharing every day on Facebook. I would share every day on Instagram, but I would only do it in my Insta story. Because I had these gremlins telling me, don't nobody want to see that. Instagram is for pictures. And so I suppressed it, right? And we're going to do this probably for the rest of our life, suppress who we really are.
Of course.
And live this life. Instead of living in truth and getting all this stuff out of us. So I said, at some point last year in 2020, I said, I'm going to share it on my main Instagram, and I don't care. And I started doing that. And again, I just want to share as much as I can on whatever medium fits me.
Well, let me tell you the one that took me down to the flow. Okay?
I feel like I need to look at them.
They will make excuses for missing your birthday party.
Yeah.
And take off work to come to your funeral.
Now, let me
You need better friends.
Yeah.
It's personnel, it's not personal.
Kim.
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 Didn't it speak to you?
We have the same one written down. Okay, so great minds think alike.
This is true.
Okay.
This is true.
Before he goes into that, I want to say this, that there was a time when I was trying to get me, you, and Pastor Robert Evans in the same room. And this was I think maybe over the summer, but everybody's not comfortable with the pandemic. And so I just kind of had that on hold. But I have, and I'm a Cancer, I'm very emotional today for some reason, so just bear with me.
It's all good.
I said, I need to talk to somebody about what I'm going through socially. And I feel the same way. And I feel like, certain people have not accepted that I'm not that social person, that I'm trying to be better. Even I listen to gospel music all the time, but on Sundays I try to really focus in and start the week off right. But certain people are not that accepted. Now I'm trying to say, you know what, Tony, you got to post what you want. If they unfollow you, they unfollow you.
Right.
Be happy with who you are. Be that positive, helpful person that you are, and you helped me along the way with that, with with most of your quotes, and that one, it spoke out because I tell people, I say, don't have your funeral during the work day because I'm not taking off,
Oh wow. Okay.
So you gotta but I don't mean that. But that is so true.
Right.
People, they don't give a damn until when it's like, you dead. Well, we all. Deshaun always used to say, we all have a date with death.
Amen.
You don't have to be a certain age. You don't have to have this slow cancer dying death. It could be gone just like that. People just don't wake up. So, what was your motivation behind saying that in that particular morning when you woke up?
Right.
And that was what came to mind.
Well, some stuff that God gives me is really good, so you may see it repeated. These have come up. It's not personal. It's personnel. Those, if you just go back, if you have the time, you'll see it come up in a different iteration. But for that is, so I'm on social media just like everybody else. I'm reading, I'm consuming just like everybody else. I'm addicted just like everybody else. My phone told me I pick it up every 9 minutes.
Wow.
Whether it buzzes, beeps, blinks, or not. So there's some type of addiction going on. Anyway, people take things too personally. And they shouldn't. It is a part of getting the right personnel in your life for what's going on in your life right now. And people do this at the end of the year. Certain people ain't coming into the new year with me. I'm cutting people off. It's personnel. It's not personal. She is a good person. He is a good person. But for where you're headed, for what God has for you, it's about personnel. If you take it personal, it's going to be hard to be successful.
Right.
It's going to be hard to get sleep at night. It's going to be hard to be congenial. It's going to be hard to be have a godly character or whatever you're looking like if you take it personal. But if you see it as personnel and this is who God wants in my life for this season, because remember, it's only a season. Everybody's not supposed to be what they call it, my ride or die, my 20-year guy. Like, it doesn't work. It's just a season. And if we could just realize that it's just a season in every area of our life, we'll stop taking things personal. But we should know that people are going to take off work. They're going to go home and change to get to your funeral, but they're not going to make those exceptions for your birthday. Today is the the anniversary of Malcolm X's assassination. His approval rating was in the toilet. He died broke. But today, no one goes without posting him.
He's trending on Twitter.
He's trending on Twitter
He's
today.
He's literally been trending all day.
For a positive manner. He was trending in 1965 for something much different.
Right.
Same thing with Dr. King. And we just have to know that it's not personal. It's about getting the right people around you for what's going on in your life right now. And you should pivot, right? It's not personal. They're not here, but I'm going to find someone better.
Absolutely.
Who will show up for me when my mom passes. Who will show up for me when I lose my job. Because there is a way to show up in people's lives that you are connected to during those high highs and those low lows.
Yeah, that's great stuff, Tim Jones. Great stuff. We're sponsored by Zelia Rose Boutique and Jars by Jasmine. Follow them on all social media platforms and the website zeliarose.com and www.jarsbyjasmine.com. Tim, what role does religion play in your life?
I wouldn't be doing any of this. I came to faith. I became a Christian 20 years ago next month. And I've been thinking about that every day, probably since last October, that it was going to be my 20th anniversary or my birthday or whatever to coming into faith.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 20 years before that, I was my own God, and things were really bad. Things were really slippery. I was really living 3 steps ahead, 4 steps backwards because I was my own God. But, I left for school in Holly Springs, Mississippi, and transferred home and didn't have the next step in my life, and started going to church with my mom on Wednesday nights and Sunday nights. And that's when everything changed. My whole life, it just went from black and white to HD or 4K or whatever this Samsung is up here. My life just changed. And as a result, some of the things that I associated myself with changed. Now, I come from a family of like community organizers and freedom fighters, so that's in me. But positivity, inspirational, congenial, turning the other cheek, that's not my family. That's not associated with my surname, and but it was my faith that just 100% that led me right here.
What have you been accepted completely by friends and family during this journey?
No, but that's why we don't look for acceptance or approval.
You can't.
It's too old-fashioned. It's not the way to get things done. And again, if I was waiting on approval, it was going to be hard to accomplish anything.
Right.
It was going to be hard to get through grad school, B school, if I was waiting on approval. And so, again, I made a decision to turn in a direction for myself, and whoever stayed, whoever didn't come along for the journey, it was a part of the personnel thing. I knew they weren't a part of the personnel for that journey. But I don't really take things personal. I don't care who likes, I don't care who supports, I don't care that these aren't sold out. I'm not tripping because there's work for me to do. I still have stuff to accomplish.
Great words. I did not know how much I was living for others.
Right.
Being social, getting people together, and even though I was having fun, I was happy. It didn't change me as a person. I'm still the same person. It just may seem like because I'm not as social, but I didn't know how much I was doing it for other people. And now that, things have changed and slowed down, and hell, I'm older too, I got teenage kids, it's definitely been a journey where you, a lot of people have just been turned off. But what it has done, it has strengthened a lot of relationships that probably should have been stronger in the first place.
I think you learn very quickly the first time you tell someone no. So even if it's in a social setting, or for me, I'm always the one that everybody calls for everything. It doesn't matter. The first time you tell a person no is really when you get to know their character, because they're so used to you saying yes. Then you become the villain because how dare you not have the time for them to express their hurt or hate or whatever like that. So I get the social part of it, but I think that's also, you more than likely were a lot of people ear as well. So it might have been a social setting, but they're still using your social setting to get to you, to express to you the things that they need in that moment.
Okay, that's good stuff. The actual and factual. Kim Smith, give us your balance between religion and spirituality. I hear that a lot amongst.
I'm spiritual, not religious.
Yeah, I've heard
people.
that. Well, I think it's really hard to attain because there's not a lot of good examples of it. I didn't grow up in the church, so I feel like that's an asset.
Yeah.
And then I spent 20 years with the church. That's also an asset. So now I can feel like I can show people how to do it because I know and have both sides. But I wasn't always like that. I lived my life for a long time like The Voice. I'm performing, and there's 4 people that I'm performing for, and I'm waiting on them to hit a button and say, you're hired, or you can preach on Sunday, or we're going to ordain you. I'm not ordained. I'm not licensed. And it's probably because nobody said, I'm going to ordain and license you. That's how it works in the Black church. It's not something that because of merit. It's basically, come on, It's your time. You Annie Mae's son. You want to preach, right? Get up here. It's nothing about merit. It doesn't matter how faithful you is. You can come in early, stay late. And I'm drifting into corporate America too about, getting chosen, somebody hitting that button. So I always haven't been there. But when you talk about this balance of finding balance or whatever that is, it's really tough because before we had to wear masks, people wore masks, particularly on Sunday morning. They would live a life on Sunday, and then Monday through Saturday, they were a totally different person. And so when you get in there, you'd be like, dang, I didn't know this. I thought, and I'm not even gonna pick on the Christian church. This happens across religions, but I can only speak from my experience in the Christian church. Is there's nobody the preachers don't talk about their infidelities or their imperfections until they get caught up in an imperfection or an infidelity.
And then they come out and say they're human.
And then you're human. But before that, you wanted us to think you were superhuman.
Yes.
Right? That you know how to handle your money. That you only have eyes for your wife. That you're always on time. That you cross T's and dot I's. And it's not like that. And I wish that was how Sunday mornings could be spent. That, hey, Monday through Thursday, I cussed my wife out. Here's how we got through that. Or we didn't get through it, but I was able to come up with a 30-minute sermon for you. That's the type of transparency and contrition that people want to see, that they don't. So they just accept that I know what I'm getting is symbolism. Beautiful suit, parted hair, beautiful St. John outfit. I know that they look like that right now and their life is messed up, but I'm going to accept this because we hide. We're not transparent. We don't talk about who we are. So for me, I always wanted to be that. At one point, I was a millennial pastor at a church in downtown Chicago. And I used to deal with millennials, and they used to tell me about their journey of trying to be abstinent. And I wouldn't tell them, save yourself for marriage. I wouldn't tell them, make sure you're equally yoked. And, we like to only talk about that for relationships. I would tell them that God knows the desires that you have with your body. Here's what he suggests that you do. But he also gave you a will. And it's probably the greatest gift that any of us have is a will to do whatever the hell we want to do.
Right.
And take that. Not don't use contraceptives like the Catholic Church teaches. Not save yourself for marriage like most, right? I try to help them to make the word a modern day reality. And oftentimes a preacher, a teacher, guys that we watch, men, women that we watch, they don't make it a modern day reality. They try to jam it into 2021 and it don't fit. It's antiquated. It's not the way that people are handling their relationships. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm saying that it needs to be contextualized.
I think a lot of fear in the church too as well. And I'm speaking because I literally grew up in the church from the time that I could walk up until, I don't go faithfully after college, but every Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Halloween's, all of that was done in church. I think the biggest disconnect is that the fear of the older generation, pastors included, is that if they change the narrative for us, then the older generation, like my granny, my uncles, and all of them, will then shun them. Because how dare you come in here and start speaking these new facts? That's not what's in my Old Testament. That's not what's in my New Testament. You want to come in and these kids, because, we grown, but we kids to them. You want to alter this to them when they need to be following our example, not the other way around. So it'll never end in it. I'm, going to speak from experience. Nobody has to agree with me, but there's never going to be a time where the black church conforms to us. It's just not going to happen.
It's very true. 100% true. And I don't think I answered your question on how the whole religion versus spirituality, but the way that I've done it is every day I want to be better. It is a term. It's a term called progressive sanctification. Every day, I'm going to get better. I'm going to be a better Tim on Monday than I was on Sunday. Holistically, I'm not going to be on FanDuel spending my money trying to win a jackpot. Or I'll handle the guy that cut me off differently on Monday than I did today. That is about this whole holistic work that I'm doing. That's not just limited to spirituality. It's not just limited to finances, but it's the totality of who I am as a man. And I think people compartmentalize their life when you start talking about religion and spirituality, right? And that's what we can't do. It's a blend. It's not a balance. It's how do I put all of this together to make something that I can be proud of, or that God can be proud of. Because if you're talking about balance, that's an equal distribution. So if I lose Big Mama, who's going to replace her?
Right.
Who do you put in that place to balance that? It's not a balance. It's a blend. Okay, my mom. If I lose my mom, who's going to replace mom? I got to find my aunt. To try to just, right, there's a little treble thing over there where you just get the EQ right. You got to know what to tweak to get it just okay.
Right.
Absolutely.
To stabilize it.
Good stuff, Tim Jones. So earlier you mentioned that you went into a place and they would not play your
CD.
Your CD.
I'll never forget that.
Your hip hop spoken word, and you didn't say the name, and I'm glad you didn't, because you don't show no love, you don't get no pub. But let's shout out your church house if you want to.
Sure. I was on staff at a church from 2009 to 2017. Once 2017 hit, I just kind of stepped back. So I haven't been actively serving anywhere. But I attend a church called Soul City in the West Loop. It's for the most part multicultural, predominantly white. The pastors are a couple, married couple. But to Kimberly's point a moment ago, it's this all access, come as you are, with your coffee in your hand, with the guy you slept with last night, right? No condemnation to wherever you come from. Come in.
That's right on Adams and Ray.
Yeah, it sits on the corner.
Right.
And we'll be back in the building on March 7th.
Oh, wow.
Right? With all types of social distance and all of that, and capacity things. So that's where I am now, but I don't serve. I'm kind of like a fly on the wall. I go in, get the word, and I get out. Mostly because, I was, from 09, and even before 09, because I wasn't on staff, but I was behind the scenes, really close to the work, and I was there all day. But I really felt like it was my obligation to change the way that people saw church, and to be responsive to people's needs, to remember people's names, to remember people's issues, and figure out how to love on them without preying on them. P-R-E-Y. Because people in the church are very vulnerable. People in social services, the work that I do, are very vulnerable. And it's very tempting to take advantage of that vulnerability.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about no situation that I've been in. I'm just talking about the people that you receive with some type of hurt, habit, or hang up. You can do anything with these people.
This is true.
But
a lot of people in the Black church will tell you later. I think the biggest thing is this. So when you were raised in church, we didn't have a choice about religion.
Sure.
This is what we have to do on Sunday. That's it. Get up, get dressed.
Right.
It's time to go. I think when you get old, and then that's how you can, as you get older, teenage, mid-20s or whatever, you can be taken advantage of, because don't forget, this is already pushed on you. This is all you know.
Right.
Then as you get older and start asking questions, is usually when religion, church, our age group starts to have a problem. Because it's like, how dare you come in and question what I have given you, which is supposed to be this beautiful, wonderful thing. So I get the praying on people part of it, because unfortunately I've seen single mothers come into the church and need help because situations at home are not going well. But then in 2 to 3 years, the things that's happening to Sister Morgan or whatever should never have been happening, but it only happened because she was vulnerable coming into the church.
Right.
So,
and I also worked for a white church for many years. So this idea that it's the black church that's mismanaging money, that can't get their shit together. I worked for a white church, 500 employees, $50 million budget, and the same type of junk goes on there. So it's not limited to any culture. It is the ecosystem is not well, and so that means everything, black, white, like right, it's gonna have its issues like any organization. But I think sometimes because of our experience, we think it's just limited to the black church or whatever.
But it's because that's all we
to
know.
Your experience, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
But everybody's got those issues. I've seen both sides.
What area did Tim Jones grow up? Where's Tim Jones from?
So I grew up on 56 and Justine.
Okay.
5626 South Justine. It's the heart of Inglewood. Man, the 90s was much different. I mean, the city is bad right now, but the homicide totals were north of where they are now. Just day-to-day violence, open air drug dealing, all of it was higher for me and my friends growing up there. But my mom had a little bit of vision. She got some Section 8, subsidized housing, moved us from West Inglewood to Schaumburg, Illinois. So I always tell people affectionately, I was the Fresh Prince before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Okay.
He went from West Philly to Bel-Air. I went from West Inglewood to Schaumburg.
Okay.
First place that I ever saw a tennis court, roses, an Asian person. Again, my life just got put in HD, 4K.
How old were you when you all went to Schaumburg?
I was 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But because we were just so connected to 56 and Justine, Christmas, Mother's Day, spring break, summer break, I was back there. So where I get a lot of my convictions is I was seeing one thing in Schaumburg, coming back on to 56 and Justine and seeing that the school systems don't really look the same. The neighborhoods don't look the same. How the heck do we begin to balance the scale so that Inglewood can look like a Schaumburg? And it's a place that I just began to just cultivate a lot of the stuff that I'm doing today. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting journey. We moved there in 91. I graduated high school. The day I graduated high school, jumped on the expressway and moved right back into the house that I left in 1991. That's how life works sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I would trade it, man. I cut my teeth. I think Chicago is the best place to develop as a leader. I'm probably biased because it's the only place that I've grown and developed. But the politics, the race, the culture, the classism, the heritage, you can't get it in many places like that.
True. I can give you that. Y'all have
country.
a lot.
Yeah.
Is there hope for Black people? Looks like we are kind of going backwards. Greed, money, social media. Seems like the more access we get, just things are kind of just kind of going backwards, especially with what we just came through over the past 4 years. So is there hope for Black people, Tim Jones?
If we can figure out how to be more consistent as a collective.
Say that again.
These spurts of connectedness and connectivity and collectivity, they're not going to work if we just do it every 4 years to get the big bad boogeyman out of office. They're not just going to work if we do it every 3 months when someone is killed unnecessarily, unlawfully by the police. There has to be a systematic, formal approach to us being a collective, staying a collective, group economics. It's all a group. It's not just the Goodwin family that needs to get it together. The Goodwin family has to come together with all of our families. There's hope if we can figure that out. That is caps lock if. 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 we can figure that out. But again, I believe we can change our minds about anything. We can figure out anything if we want to do the work. But it's got to be out. It's got to be more than just this momentary times that we do it.
Yeah. Been waiting for the next bad thing to happen.
The problem with President Obama being elected was we needed like 700 Obamas elected at that one time.
Yes.
That's why I don't jump off the top rope with a flying elbow on President Obama, because you needed an entire group of him. It was like what The Weeknd did with the Super Bowl, where all those guys was The Weeknd, or when Slim Shady had all of the guys that was him many years ago in his video. That's what needs to take place. But for whatever reason in our community, when we get a good one who is a good orator, he matriculated at a good college, he has a beautiful bride, we're going to lift him up and lift him up instead of lifting anything close, near, almost a good one. Got a boo. She not like, we gotta lift everybody up at the same time, and it's possible. But instead, we like to pick and choose who we want to do, who we want to lift up and accelerate the process for. And there's ways it can be done as a collective that we're not really taking advantage of.
Yes. Well said. That was well said. You hit that right on the head. I'm prayerful, and we can do it. We can, but we got to definitely be prayerful and hopeful, and start with yourself. Start within your heart, and start with just being positive, and like you say, uplift the good people, and bring somebody with you. Grab them up off the street. They not, just come on. Let's help somebody in need.
Black people have an issue with the reach back.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Last time you were here, Tim, you were here with the Jarquetta Eggleston, nice lady. Really
that's my girl.
And the first time we were talking about the candidates that were running for mayor of Chicago. Then Jarquetta and Tim came back and they talked about Lori Lightfoot versus Tony Preckwinkle. I was Tony Preckwinkle. Both of them were Lori Lightfoot, and Lori Lightfoot, came up victorious. So let's check in. With Lightfoot.
Well, I will say this: there were 14 candidates. I ranked them like NCAA bracket.
Yes.
I seeded them.
Yes.
14 seed, 1 seed.
Yes.
Lori was my 3 seed. Preckwinkle was my 2nd seed. Daly was my 1 seed. So I was really close. But how I saw the 14 candidates was dead on. It was spot on. You can rerun the tape.
Yes.
You can rerun my Facebook.
Yes.
I got it all if you want to see it. But what's happening now is Lori's going to be 1 term. There's no way she's going to get a 2nd term after fumbling the teacher strike in 19, after fumbling the business district this summer, after being a turncoat with the alderman prerogative, with the elected school board, with the we're not making up any days for the teachers being on strike. She flips. She doesn't get things right the first time. And leadership in the city of Chicago, on that 5th floor, you have to be right a lot, and you have to get it right the first time at a greater percentage that you get it wrong. Ron suffered from that. He didn't get it right the first time a lot. And the only reason he got a 2nd term because he got it. She's going to have it in 2023 financially, but the people, the young people in this case were right. They said that she was a fraud progressive. She is a fraud progressive. And it's coming out. She's a real deal federal prosecutor.
People kept forgetting that is exactly what she was.
Relationally, she deals with disagreements like a prosecutor. Relationally, she deals with things like a corporate attorney. It's kind of like, damn, she said that? Like in the corporate world, there's how you say it doesn't matter. right? Because everybody here is
how it's interpreted.
Right. Everyone here is at will. So it don't matter how I say it. You ain't doing your job, getting your ass out of here. But when you become a public servant, it matters that you are strong with the truth and gentle with people. And she just can't do it. She can't do it. So I would say I was wrong in picking her, because Tony was a machine. She is still the machine. She'll be the next Mike Madigan of the state. She runs the city. She's been running the city for a long time. She's probably one of the best politicians in the country. She just got her ass kicked by Lori, so that's why we don't talk about her that much. She only won 4 precincts. It's about 2,000 plus precincts in the run. She won 4. She didn't win any of the awards. So she's doing the right thing though. When you get your ass whooped, you go chill out. Put the steak on your eye.
Get the concealer.
Right?
You know.
Get the concealer.
Yeah.
But Lori is one term, to just surmise what I just said. She's going to be one term. It's going to be a clown show again in 2023. There's going to be about 15 people jumping out the 2-door Volkswagen saying they running for mayor.
Is Tony coming? Do you think Tony will come back?
That's a really good question, because all of the young pups that are popping right now, Anna Valencia Vasquez, she's the city clerk. What's my boy's wife that's the city treasurer? Irvin's wife is the city treasurer. All of them coming. All of these young people with new ideas, they got a little money behind them, they built up a bit of a collective, they're coming. So I'm not sure what Tony will do, but she runs all of them.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. But it's going to be a clown car show again. 14, 15, 17 candidates.
I can't wait to see Lori in the next. I mean, goodness gracious. Whew. I wonder if they're going to be like, so how you feel about throwing Eddie under the bus? Just hit her with one of them. Y'all just, goodness gracious.
Her problem is going to be hindsight. We all going to look back at these 4 years, which was probably the worst 4 years for any politician in leadership. She just, man, she couldn't catch a break.
You had like George Floyd, like everything was right behind each other too. Now I rolled for Lori for a very long time. I did. Because I remembered I worked in corporate America, and I remembered that Lori is an attorney.
Yeah.
So I wasn't shocked by her presentation.
Okay.
You know, when you work with attorneys, you get used to that very dry, like no emotion or anything like that. So even in her press conferences, where people will come back and be like, don't you just feel like she's just rude and mean? I'm like, no, that's literally, she's an attorney.
Yeah.
So, but I will be very interested in when she runs again, what the narrative would be for her, because it seems like everybody always says, like even with her in the police, like, oh, they don't like her, this, that, and the third, but then boom, the numbers come out about how much money just went to the police.
Right.
It seems like it's just a lot of backdoor things, and she's not really keeping her back door clean.
Right.
It seems like it's all coming out in public very quickly.
Right.
What's your opinion on the amount of money that the police
Just got
from the budget?
I think.
the pandemic budget.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the difference. Yeah.
I think again, it's like read the room. Right, and if you have those soft skills, if you're used to doing this with people, with union workers, with day-to-day people, you know that those numbers got to be flipped. But if you're used to hanging out in the North Shore, corporate attorney life, just your life being financed by people that don't look like you, then it's going to be hard to read the room of the wards that Willie Wilson won and gave to her in the runoff. She didn't win any of the black community as a majority during the general election. Okay. So I think it's a miss. I think it's a miss. I think the handling of the return to school is a miss. I think her tone and congeniality is a miss. And she gonna pay for it in 2 years. In 2023, she won't get another term. I knew she wouldn't get another term after the mishandling of the teacher strike. Now it's in stone.
Yeah.
She should put that money behind somebody else, because she's not gonna win. She's gonna have the money to compete, but she's not gonna have the social capital, and she's not gonna have the the sheet to run of like, hey, here's what I did. Because it's going to be short compared to the stuff she messed up.
I don't think she has the pride to just pass it off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't think she does.
No way.
No.
You don't surrender power. It got to be taken away.
Yes.
Well, if this is the Wednesday night show, I would say what came to my head.
Don't
but
do
it's
it.
not.
What's Wednesday dedicated to?
Current events and
okay.
things like that. So we're gonna leave that. I'm gonna save that. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
My thoughts. Well, what I want to do when it's time to vote in Chicago, I'm gonna write in Timothy Jones.
Oh man.
Would you ever run? I mean, is that something that is all of this is working towards?
I don't know. So I have responsibility to be positive, patient, and consistent. And everything else will fall with it where it's supposed to fall. And those attributes in the area of motivation, inspiration, and leadership. So that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't have my eyes on anything. I have a day-to-day job that my eyes are on. I do this, my eyes are on it, but I'm not doing anything because it's going to catapult me to such and such.
Okay.
Now I have a good grasp of what's going on in the city politically, so that's always a possibility.
Okay.
I'm giving like a real politician response.
You
right
are.
But I want folks to be engaged, to understand what's going on around them. That we have the most African Americans in leadership positions right now in the city of Chicago, and the South and West Side still look the same.
They do.
Leadership is still, again, you can't, who sent you? Right? That was the problem with Lori. It was like, where did she come from?
Right.
Who sent her? And no, we not about to let her bust up this machine. But she broke through the machine, and that's what I was for. I'm anti-machine, I'm anti-democratic. This is the way that it's always been done. And I thought that she was that. But she don't even have the capacity to be that. The young people got it right. All the Black Lives Matter young people, I don't want to say their names, but the young crowd got it right. They said that she wasn't progressive, she couldn't do it, and that she was a fraud progressive. They got it right. But who knows if I'll run.
Okay. I do want to ask, you have an annual men's brunch. What is that about, and how did it get started?
I don't have an annual men's brunch. I don't.
You don't?
Oh, in my personal, those are my friends.
Your
I'm
personal.
sorry. Yeah, we just did our 5th New Year's Day brunch. So there's a scripture that says iron sharpens iron. I have a core group of friends that I've been friends with 15 to 20 years, and that's just one way we connect and just start off the year with each other. With brunch. We got a chance to do it this year despite COVID. The circle was a little smaller, but it's just a way to make a human connection with people that I love. Yeah.
That's not really big with men. So I didn't care if it was personal or professional.
Right.
I thought it was very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's still some room to grow as far as us being more transparent with each other about what's really going on in our life and who we are, and do we like who we are and where we're headed as men, as parents, as businessmen. There's still some areas to grow in that. You talk about, is there any hope for the Black community? A bigger and another good question is there hope for the Black man? Because we are dissegmented and disjointed when it comes to things of positivity, of consistency, of monogamy, of like linear focus. We don't have a linear focus collectively. We see it a little bit in business. You know, there's a few Black businesses where there's a collective of men that lead the way in that. But as far as this day-to-day, holistic, how are you as your man? How many Pepsis did you drink today? You don't have a friend that asks for that.
I have a friend that hands him the next Pepsi.
And we need that. I need to have a friend that says, did you pick up your phone every 9 minutes today? But we think that that's off limits.
Right.
And it's not. it's the way that we commune together as men and become better.
Mm-hmm.
But because we don't, we continue to live in the status quo,
Mm-hmm.
which is Latin for the mess that I'm in.
Mhm.
So that was a sidebar. Nobody asked for that, but gave it to you
It was
anyway.
great.
All right, well, we are here with Brother Tim Jones, motivational speaker, writer, public speaker, community advocate, big picture thinker, a leader in our community, a leader in my heart, and nothing but bigger things to come.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us where we can follow you on all of your social media platforms.
Facebook, Tim Jones. I know it's probably be 100 Tim Jones that pop up, but you should be able to find me because I'm kind of connected to
Mm-hmm.
the algorithm will
Mhm.
put you to the right Tim Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter and Instagram, I am Tim Jones LLC. Facebook, LinkedIn, Timothy Jones for my personal professionals. And then IamTimJones.com for just more information, some cool pictures. I don't know.
Really quick, on your WGN performance, what is a rideshare desert? I wanted to ask you that. Meaning like there was places in the city that like Lyft and Uber wouldn't go?
Well, the inventory of drivers is smaller in our neighborhoods.
Mm.
Also, in particular to what you're talking about this was about the congestion tax when they were getting ready to do the congestion tax. The single mom that works at Ruth Chris that lives in Woodlawn or lives in back of the yards, now she's going to incur that charge on top of the charge of commuting from Streeterville to back of the yards or whatever.
Oh,
So
got it.
it creates rideshare deserts.
Okay.
No, that doesn't create rideshare deserts. But drivers, when people who drive Lyft and Uber, they going to the airports, they going downtown. Ain't nobody just posting up on 79th waiting for their thing to go.
Right.
Okay.
So it creates an effect of rideshare deserts.
Really? Okay. I guess it is by neighborhood, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I've never had that issue. So when you said that, it threw me. Everything else I caught onto, then when you said that, I was just like, I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's probably not the biggest issue in our community, but if you compound it with the bike share desert,
Yeah. They just
it
updated
compounds with the bus taking you door to door. They don't take us door to door in our community. You got to get dropped off and still walk. So it just compounds the issues that happen in our community.
And on Saturday mornings, bright and early at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. on my Facebook Live. Oh, immediately when I'm done, it gets shared with the world. So it lives on my Facebook page. I end up sharing it on my Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm trying to spread the word, man.
Word of the day with Tim Jones every Saturday morning, bright and early,
Bright and early.
8 a.m.
Most people are up at 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'll probably be asleep for a couple of hours.
Oh,
at that time on
okay.
Saturday.
Most people's bodies don't let them sleep past 7 a.m.
I'm so glad my body does not wake up naturally at any given time.
Ooh, amen for you.
I am
Amen.
so glad for that. Brother Jones, it has been a pleasure
Always
to
was.
have you here. I've been looking forward to this, and you did not disappoint
Thank
as
you.
I knew
Amazing.
you would not. This has been great. We are sponsored by Zelia Rose Boutique. Shop ZeliaRose.com. Jars by Jasmine's in the South Loop. They will deliver. You can pick it up at their new South Loop location. And
South Loop Food Company.
yes, and you can get plenty of Ubers and Lyfts over there with
I gotta
no
do some research and that blew
with
me.
no
I was
problem.
like,
Well,
wait, what?
Well, yeah, when you live close to the South Loop like Kim does, you don't have those problems.
The nerve. Okay, anyway.
So we will return on
Wednesday.
On Wednesday night, we
Yes.
return events, black culture, and entertainment.
Oh,
and
before we get out of here, happy birthday to Courtney Nicole.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Courtney
birthday,
Nicole.
Courtney Nicole. Happy early birthday, Kelly. See you Tuesday.
And we have the actual factual birthday coming up on this coming Thursday.
Period.
Yes,
Yeah.
225. 225.
225.
Make sure you play it in the lottery. And to Chris's best friend, the kid, 222.
Oh, happy
Play that in
birthday.
the lottery.
A lot of
too.
Pisces.
Yeah, Pisces
I mean,
season. Yikes.
Oh, the nerve of the cancers. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Let's keep it simple.
Okay, so thank you,
my
Brother
pleasure.
Jones, for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
You were
Thank you.
great. And thank you for our gifts. These
I
are so
know.
great. It's a life season, not a life sentence. Leave no potential on the table.
Setbacks are really slingshots.
Leave
Come on.
no potential on the table.
Go ahead
Brother
and jump right
Jones,
on
thank
Amazon
you.
and get these
Yes.
framed.
Thank you for your leadership. Thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
your positivity and being an inspiration. And I want to be like you when I grow up. Son.
Oh man. Amen.
Good night, people. Thank
Good night.
you all for watching. Support on all podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, iHeartMedia, all that good stuff in all social media platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok coming soon.
Yes. Come on.
Good night. And YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube page. We got a lot of good new stuff on the YouTube page.
Yes.
Unapologetic. You see the spelling right here.
2 L's.
Right. We're going to get some pictures with Tim Jones, and we're going to go enjoy our Sunday evening. Good night.
Good night.
Brother Jones, thank you.
That was
so
good,
much.
man. Thank
were
you.
great.
Thank you.
You were great.
I hope I delivered, man.
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
it's
you
hard.
were amazing.
It's hard.
Excellent stuff.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Great
Oh,
stuff.
thank you so much for calling me Kimberly the entire time. It threw me the second time in. I'm so used to people hitting me with the Kimberly at least twice and then it automatically switches to Kim.
Yeah, I'm not with that. I think it's still formal.
Cool.
Keep it professional.
No. I mean, even in my professional setting.
Oh, okay.
At my law office, I say Kimberly. Everybody calls me Kimberly. Yeah. This still didn't unlock. We gotta thank you so much. We have to figure that out.
Now, I don't know if it, I don't know if
I'm pretty sure it's in the settings. It has to be.
I don't know, we gonna have to leave it. I don't know, that's one thing I'm not doing is let my kids use that.
I can roll these up for you so
Oh,
they don't have to be like that.
No, don't roll it up. Don't roll mine up, no. Cause I don't like it. Oh, 7:30.
Wow, got me out.
What phone is it?
That's my phone.
Oh, okay. Where's the phone? What phone is it?
I think that's mine.
I'm gonna share it to myself.
Sure. I didn't get a chance to send what you posted, like to advertise, to market.
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be up there for you can put it back in
Yeah, I'll figure it
the
out.
stores whenever
Yeah.
you can. So in my head, well, not in my head, I've been trying to get on Cam's schedule. State Representative Cam
yeah.
Buck, do you know him?
Yeah,
Through Greg?
Groove.